Yes, my people, as it dey hot, it don't happen. No, Rufai of Arise TV has done it again. Yes, this guy is too educated. In fact, now woman born this guy. This guy is out of this world. Make una see the way Rufai take educate inec, because inec they talk say no PVC, no election. It come like say inec they try tell us say this election big pass them. Make I not talk too much, my obedient family. Just they share this video and make una see the way Rufai they educate inec.
Things has to be said. It is easy now for inec to come out and say people are talking about on social media about the possibility of voting without the PVC. But let's go back. Why are people talking about that in the first place? People are talking about that because inec has not shown logistical competence in the first place. And let's call it spade a spade. You see, I'm not for deceits. inec has not shown logistical competence as regards this PVC issue. In defense of inec, people too did not come out on time to register to get their PVCs. And we must stop this fire brigade approach. But the logistical competence of inec is suspect. And that's why, because people are seeing the timeline of 3 months to the presidential election, and most PVCs, due to the new registration, have not been collected. And that's why people are beginning to talk like that online. We know that it's stipulated in the electoral law that you can't vote without a PVC. We know, we are aware of the law. But also, we are not oblivious of the hitherto logistical incompetence inec has shown. What inec should do now is to be able to reassure the people, not just by words of mouth, by action. When is this PVC collection going to go full swing? The over 5, 6, 7, 8 million people that newly registered, when are they going to get their PVCs? Do their officers in various local governments even know? I have heard people call me and say, Rufai, I went to this place, they said I should call this number said I should, there's nothing. So the population is as confused about what inec is doing when they will get their PVCs. They keep giving timelines. At some point they say by November they'll start receiving. A lot of people are not received by November. I think I would even go further. If we open up our channel for reaching us on Arise TV and ask people, what are the challenges as regards receiving your PVC? You will see that people will have a lot to say. The bedlam will be countrywide. So apart from just talking, then match it with action. That's all we demand for inec. Because a lot of people want to vote. 90 million Nigerians want to get a chance to have a say on who leads them. But when it looks as though because of vandalism, insecurity and all of that, they've been disenfranchised, and great point you raised, Dr. Abati, about the VIN number and the PVCs to be printed again, then something is seriously cooking that we cannot even say or know. And if the PVC that is taking them months to print have been burnt in days and you say you're going to print it back in days, where is the logistical architecture to print all of that? There are many questions inec needs to answer. And that's why that conversation started up on social media. It is for inec to, like they say in Nigerian parlance, show workings. If people that registered have their PVC in their hands, they will not be concerned this way. Please, get PVC into the hands of voters, not leave them in inec warehouses. The federal government has blamed state governors for being partly responsible for the rising rate of poverty nationwide. The Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, says state chief executive prioritized construction of heavy pieces of infrastructure such as bridges and airports in cities rather than improving the lives of the rural poor. Agba said despite the federal government's intervention to alleviate poverty, the results do not reflect the amount of investment made in this area.
Is putting out at the federal level, putting out so much money, but we are not seeing a reflection, so much a reflection in terms of money that is being put out in alleviating poverty, which is one of the reasons the government also put in place the National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy. But if the government, federal government, puts the entire income that it earns into all of this without some form of complementarity from the state governments in playing their part, it will seem as if we are throwing money in a pond. Because the governors basically are only functioning in their state capitals. And democracy that we preach about is delivering the greatest good to the greatest number of people. And from our demography, it shows that the greatest number of our people live in the rural areas.
And I dare say, it's a failure of this administration. This APC administration, and also other administrations by the PDP. It's a collective failure of both political parties since we returned to democracy. But let's narrow it down. The minister said states are to be blamed. I'd like to honorably ask the minister, that does the states get more when you have a breakdown of federal allocation or the federal government? And who is poised with tackling holistic poverty, if not the federal government? That as the federal government accounted for the money it said is set aside in social investment program, the billions it set aside in the humanitarian ministry. See, when people fail, they look for who to blame. The federal government set aside a social investment program. We would like to know how much that social investment program has reduced poverty in Nigeria. Because we have examples. I was just reading the World Bank report this morning when Brazil set up something called Bolsa Familia under Lula Inácio da Silva. 20 million people came out of poverty. Was it not in this country that we're feeding school children during COVID? Was it not in this country we heard of massive corruption, over 109 billion by the Attorney General? If we spend that money on the poor, I think it will go a long way. So why blame the states? And please don't get me wrong, this is not to exonerate state governors too. They ought to do a lot. Because a lot of state governors holding on to local government money where a lot of these poor people live is not right. The state governors must allow the local government function independently to be able to address the concerns of people. But the buck stops with this administration. And what it means is that this administration has failed to bring people out of poverty. In fact, the numbers have increased to 133 million as we speak today. So when the Minister of State for Budgets says the states are to be blamed, we will ask, what about those glowing promises the federal government made? What about those programs and the ministry they set up to alleviate the sufferings of people? What did they do? Can they give us a full audit of what was spent on trader money and how it impacted and brought people out of poverty? Can they give us a full breakdown of conditional cash transfer, of how it brought out people from poverty? Can they give us a full breakdown of how much was spent in all of these schemes to bring people out of poverty in this country?